Hey guys, all right, welcome back to the art room. I'm Mrs. Ash and I am ready to work on our final project while we are doing our videos. So we are going to be working on this for 3 cycles, okay, like 3 weeks for art. So the next 3 times I see you, we're going to be working on this project. So the first time we're practicing proportions, that means placing parts on a face. The second time, we are going to be adding the details, like outlining the parts that we ended up liking, adding hair, and working on our lettering. The third day we work on this, we are going to color the whole thing, okay? So, I do not want anybody turning in a finished project to me today, okay? Because we're not finishing this in one day. In art, you know it takes us lots of days usually to finish one project, okay? And why we've been virtual, it's been kind of hard. I've been trying to speed things up so that you guys can do that all in one day, but I really want you to take your time on this project. So, we are still working in our line unit. We've worked on contour lines. We've worked on different line types. We've talked about emphasis. And now we are going to be using our lines to do proportions. Proportions means placing things on your face so that relative to each other, they are in the right spot. Now, Mrs. Ash, that sounds a little confusing. So what that means is figuring out where to place eyes and a nose on the face. Where does the hairline start? Where does the chin go? Those are the proportions of the face. So we're gonna try to get everything in the right spot today, okay? Our question for our lesson, which this will be up every week, all 3 weeks, what makes you unique? Okay, and unique, that's an interesting word there, and I know you have heard it before. Unique means different. What makes you different? And so we are going to listen to a story that I'm going to play next. Oh, Mrs. Ash, we don't want to listen to a story. That's for babies. I know it's a picture book, but it's a really cool picture book. It's called The Day You Begin, and it's beautifully illustrated. I want you to take notice to all of the pictures. Take notice to the girl in the story. She looks similar to this girl because she's always looking to the right-hand side, or this might be the left to you, depending on if my camera, if it's flipped. And we are going to emulate that picture by doing the same thing here. We are going to be looking in our picture at these character traits about ourselves. She's not looking at that, but ours is a little different than the book. But anyway, in the book, she is talking, or the story, the author is telling us about how everyone is different, everyone is unique, and we're all going to be back in school together soon, and we want to make sure that we are inclusive of everybody, meaning that everybody feels like they belong, okay? And it doesn't matter if someone's hair is different than yours, or they eat something different than you at lunch, and they talk about that in the book, or they have a different skin color than you. We're all unique in our own way, and we want to make sure that we're making everyone feel welcome in our school. So I feel very passionate about that, and so we will be talking about that many, many times this school year. So I want you to listen to the story. Don't fast forward through it. And then meet me back here with a piece of paper, a pencil and an eraser, and another piece of paper that's like a scrap paper. We're gonna practice drawing heads and where we place the eyes and where we place the noses, and then we're gonna put it on our good one. And then we're gonna practice drawing the nose, and then we're gonna put it on our good one. And so we have a practice so that we don't have to feel frustrated. And today we're gonna use pencil and eraser so that we can keep trying and keep working this. So today is a practice day for the face. So, all right, go grab those things and listen to the story.
The Day You Begin, written by Jacqueline Woodson, illustrated by Rafael Lopez. I hope that you enjoyed this beautiful story. There will be times when you walk into a room and no one there is quite like you. Maybe it will be your skin, your clothes, or the curl of your hair. There will be times when no one understands the way words curl from your mouth, the beautiful language of the country you left behind. My name is Rigoberto We just moved here from Venezuela, and because they don't understand, the classroom will fill with laughter until the teacher quiets everyone. Rigoberto from Venezuela, your teacher says so soft and beautifully that your name and homeland sound like flowers blooming, the first bright notes of a song. There will be times when the words don't come. Once huge, now smaller. When the teacher asks, "What did you do last summer?" Tell the class your story. "We went to France," Shayla says. "These shells came from a beach in Maine." A boy named Jonathan holds out a jar, filled with tiny shells so fragile, they look like they'll turn to dust in your own untraveled hands. My whole family went to India, Spain, South Carolina. Each souvenir a small triumph of a journey, their travels going on and on. And as you stand in front of that room, you can only remember how the heat waved as it lifted off the curb, and your days spent at home caring for your little sister, who made you laugh out loud and hugged you hard at nap time. You can only remember the books you kept on reading long after she had fallen to sleep. And in that room, where no one else is quite like you, you'll look down at your own empty hands and wonder, what good is this, when other students were flying and sailing and going somewhere? There will be times when the lunch your mother packed for you is too strange or too unfamiliar for others to love as you do. When even your own friend Nadja will wrinkle her nose and say, "What's in there anyway?" And you'll wonder how she doesn't see the rice beneath the meat and kimchi. You'll wonder why she doesn't remember that rice is the most popular food in the world. There will be times when the climbing bars are too high, the run is too fast and far, the game isn't one you can ever really play. I don't want him on our team. You can watch. Maybe you can have a turn later. There will be times when the world feels like a place that you're standing all the way outside of. And all that stands beside you is your own brave self, steady as steel and ready, even though you don't yet know what you're ready for. There will be times when you walk into a room and no one there is quite like you until the day you begin to share your story. My name is Angelina, and I spent my whole summer with my little sister. You tell the class your voice, stronger than it was a minute ago, reading books and telling stories, and even though we were right on our block, it was like we got to go everywhere. Your name is like my sister's, Rigoberto says, and her name is Angelina too. And all at once in the room, where no one else is quite like you, the world opens itself up a little wider to make some space for you. This is the day you begin to find the places inside your laughter and your lunches, your books, your travel, and your stories, where every new friend has something a little like you, and something else so fabulously not quite like you at all.
Alrighty, I hope that you listened to the story. I hope that you looked and took notice to the illustrations. And oftentimes the illustrator made that main character, the little girl, looking towards the right-hand side at the world around her. And so we're going to do that same thing. We're going to make our eyes looking this way, and we are going to be looking at all of these character traits that tell about us. Okay, so our job today is to practice getting these features in the right spots on the face, okay? Now, that's not easy peasy. So, grab a piece of paper for practicing and the piece of paper that you're gonna be using for your project. If you need to pause this and grab that, go right ahead. You could also grab a whiteboard if you'd rather practice on a whiteboard. So for the head shape, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a rainbow line. This is just my practice. I'm just going over it a couple times till I get a rainbow line that feels right. Okay, rainbow line. Then I go down here to the bottom and I add a little spot in the middle. And then I try to connect that with a line. And it just kind of helps me make the shape of the head, because the head shape is tricky. If you make your spot here and then you realize, oh, maybe that's a little bit too short. That actually isn't, but let's say if I put my line right here and I went like this, and it ends up being more circular instead of oval, that's okay, then just cut. That one's not right. Next one. Okay, so we're gonna do a rainbow line, come down towards the bottom, make a little mark for where you think the chin would be, and then try to connect that. Okay, so now that I feel like I've practiced the head shape, I'm gonna practice it on my paper, nice and big. So I'm gonna try to fill up my space with my project. So I know over here is gonna be where I put those character traits in the words, which means over here I'm going to reserve for my face. So I'm gonna make that big rainbow line. It's not perfect. You probably can't even see it. Try again. Just lightly trying with a pencil. Okay, that feels okay. I'm gonna come down here and put in my bottom of my chin line here, and then I'm gonna try and connect that. Yeah, that feels okay. I've got a lot of lines on there. That's all right. I'll darken up the one that I'm gonna use, and I'll just leave the other ones there, and I'll erase them out later. Okay. I'm gonna erase this one because it's kind of in far. All right, so I have my head shape. You can keep working on your head shape till you get one that you like. I'm gonna add on my neck. My neck is just gonna be two slightly curved vertical lines coming down from the sides of the head here. Okay, so I'm just gonna bring them down here and bring it down here. You don't want them too wide, then you look like a bodybuilder. If you make them too skinny, it looks like your head's gonna pop off. Okay, I might even bring that one out a little. Got a pointy chin on here, Mrs. Ash. Okay, I got my neck, and I'm just gonna add a slightly curved horizontal line there to show the collar of my shirt. And then go out for my shoulders. This one probably wouldn't show. This one over here I could bring out. It kind of depends on where you placed it on your paper. Yours might end. Let's see this one. Let's take the tape off here. So this one kind of falls off the page. This one has a little bit more room. Yours might be a little smaller. It might completely fit. You'll have to do what works for yours. I do think my neck's a little bit too thick now. The collar of my shirt. Okay. So as you can see, I erase a ton when I'm working. It's never right on the first try. Okay, so now I'm going to work on placing my features on my head. So let's get our practice out. We need you practice. Okay, so I know that my head is cut into thirds when I'm making a person. So I'm gonna put my head here. You're gonna wanna section this off into thirds. That means that this is the same size as this space, is the same size as this space. 3 of the exact same sizes across it, okay? Once you do that, you can figure out where your ears, eyes, and nose go. Inside this third spot, this one in the middle, and that's a little bit, I'm gonna make it a little longer. I'm gonna start this over. And see, I'm on my practice over here, but I'm just gonna darken it up for you. So here's my head. I'm gonna try and make this so that I have 3 even sections on the face. Is this the same size as this? I don't think so. I think this needs to come up a little. Okay, once I've made it into thirds, Then I can place on the ears and the nose. The ears and the nose and the eyes live inside this section. So the ears can come up, up, up to this line and then all the way down there. Just darkening them up. Okay, up, 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 and tapered in there. Okay, so the ears are the full section of that middle spot. You don't realize that your ears are that big. Your eyes are up here at the top of this section, right up at the top of your ears, like this. And then your nose is this whole section. And then your mouth goes right in under your nose and gives a little room for a chin. Now, as you can see, let me get a little closer. I didn't make the person. I was just placing the parts on the face. That's called proportions. When we work on proportions, we're just trying to get them in the right spot compared to everything else. Let's do it again. I haven't touched my real one. That's why I said this is going to take us more than one day. It might take us 3 days. All right, so rainbow line for the top of my head. Bottom of my head down here. That's a little bit of a weird shape, Mrs. Ash. That's okay. All right, cut it into thirds. And what that means is you're trying to get this space to be the same size as this space is the same size here. I think this one's a lot shorter, right? All right, let's move them up again a little. Come on, buddy, you're a little too long. There, I think that looks a little better. What goes inside this middle section? Ear on this side, ear on this side. What goes at the top of this section? Eyes, 1, 2. What goes in here? Nose. What goes right at the top of this one? Mouth. Do you see how by sectioning those off into the thirds, we have placed our eyes, nose, mouth, and ears all in the right spot? Eyebrows right on here, right above those eyes, right? So even though this person looks a little bit scary because they don't have irises or all the parts or all the details, but you can see this, everything is placed in the right spot. So that's kind of the first part of figuring out how to make a face, is you want to put everything in the right spot. Okay, so once we figure out where we're going to place them, then we can kind of figure out what we want them to look like, right? So let's pull back up my other head. Move you over here. So we said we want to cut it into thirds. Okay, so let's see if I can do it here. Does that look right? That looks too short up here. Way shorter than this. Okay, so I gotta bring it down a little. How about like that? You can use your fingers like I am to measure. Those two are the same, so this still has to come down a little. So it'd be like this, 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 this. Yeah, that seems pretty good. All right, let me erase out my other ones. There and there. Those feel like they're about the same. Check it. Yes. Okay. So I cut my head into 3 parts. Don't really cut anyone's head. Okay, now remember what I did before. I'm gonna figure out where my parts go. So I'm gonna place on my ear. So I go, for an ear, I just go up, 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 and then I kind of taper it back in. Okay, up, up, up. Start from the side of the head, go up, up, up to that line, and taper it back in. This side, up, 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 back down, taper it back in. Now, depending on how the person is standing or looking at the person, you clearly don't see the whole ear. So a lot of kids think the ears come out to really far, like out to here, but they actually are, when you're looking directly at a person, they're look a lot closer to the head. Those still look a little funky, Mrs. Ash. Let's make them a little closer to the head. Let's try again. So if you don't like your ears like me, it's okay. Up, up, up. Okay, so I got my ears in the right spot. They're not perfect. They're not even close to looking identical. So if you like this and you like to keep erasing and trying and get them right, go for it. If this is stressing you out and they're not perfect, that's okay too. Just move on to the next one. We're just working on getting them in the right spots. Okay, we got ears on that head. Yay. All right, now we said that the eyes are gonna go at the top of that line. And the cool thing about an eye, there is an eye in between each eye. The length of an eye fits in between here too. Don't really put an eye there like I did. Okay, so that's where my eyes would live. And then we said that the nose would go to the bottom of this line. And so you can put on a nose now, or you can wait until you get your mouth on. I think we'll wait until we get our mouth on. I'm just gonna put the beginning of a nose here by getting those C shapes for the side of my nose. And then the mouth is gonna live right underneath that, which still gives us room for our chin down here. Okay, so the mouth is right underneath this line. You can even add on our eyebrows. They're gonna go right above our eyes. Look at that! We got all the parts of our face put on our head. Now we just have to make it look like us. Okay, so we're gonna place on, if you want, now that you have all of them on there, if you want to make it more of a cartoon looking person, you can. So if you wanted the nose to be this type of nose, I'm okay with that. It's your self-portrait. So I'm just kind of telling you where to place them, but I'm okay with you, you know, you could do more of a cartoon eye if you want, or you could do more of a realistic eye. You can pick. I'm gonna do a hybrid cartoon mixed with a realistic. So now I'm gonna try and make my eyes similar in size and shape, which usually is really hard for me to make them the same. Like you can see that this one is shorter than this one. So I'll just try and make this one a little bit longer. And when I think I have the shape right, I erase the lines I didn't like. Okay, I hope you guys are drawing with me. And practicing proportions. Let's see. Okay, eyes are coming along, Mrs. Ash. Okay, and like I said, we wanted the person to look like they're looking over here. Okay, so I'm going to put my iris right in here. I only am gonna see one curved line of my iris because it's looking that way. I can put in my pupil in the corner. That's the black hole in your eye, which looks like a dot, but really it's a hole. You can add some more lines here. That's the fold of your eyes, and you can start to place in eyelashes if you want. You can think about where your highlight might be in your eye, if you want to highlight. I know all my cartoon lovers love a good highlight in the eye. Okay. And then the rest of the eye really will be filled in mostly with color. So I'm fine with those eyes as of now. Okay, so for our nose here, noses are tricky because it's mostly shading, and we're not really shading this, we're drawing it with our pencil. So we're putting lines in. So what you're gonna do for a nose is I make my nostrils first. Okay, two like a curve, like a parentheses, or two C shapes, a C and a backward C. Then I add in the bottom part of the nose, which is like a really shallow U. And then I add in a little line, an upward diagonal line for nostrils. And that doesn't show the whole nostril, it just kind of shows what I might see when the person's looking at me. Because if you realize when you look at a person, you don't see all the way up their nose. You don't see the full circle nostril, okay, when you're looking at someone. And then depending on if you're looking in the mirror to check out your nose, that's really helpful too. And you can connect these if you want. If you want to make a realistic nostril or realistic nose. Sometimes I put a little bump on here or a shadow right in here because that's where it starts to come in. That looks like a little kid nose. You can try again. So we'll do 2 curved C's. Those are the sides of our nose. And then I kind of bring it up here, bring it up here, bring it back down here. And as you can see, I'm always just kind of sweeping my pencil because I'm never sure that first line I make. It never feels right. Kind of gonna add some darkness going up here at an upward diagonal to show my nostril there, a little hole. And then since we're coming in here, this is where we get a little bit of shadow on the nose. Right? Okay, so I don't expect you to make a perfect nose. If you want to just work on the lines, let's see, where else can I fit a nose in here? 2 curves, shallow U, connect it here. Some people even just want to put if you want to just do a bump, a bump, and a bump for the nose, you could do that to simulate more of a cartoon nose, or just simulate a the lines of a nose but not put all of the the shading in the nostrils in. That would be cool. I've seen kids do just the C nose. That's cool too. Or you could do, like I showed on my original here, a hook type nose. You'll have to decide what type of nose you want to put on your project. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my parentheses. Then I'm gonna come in a little, come in a little. I think this might be a little too wide. My shallow. Why your nose is so hard? Okay, so I'll stick with that. Is it perfect? How many times are you guys gonna hear me say this, huh? Not perfect, it's all good. Okay. And it would really help you to look at a nose. So that's one of the first things you wanna try to do is look in the mirror. Check out what your nose looks like. Okay, that's what you're trying to draw you. Maybe your nose looks totally different than the one that I just made. Alrighty, so we have nose, we have eyes, we added eyebrows, right? Our curved lines for our eyebrows. Now let's put in a mouth. All right, the mouth is out wider than the nose. Some people think the mouth lives in here inside the nose. It doesn't. It's wider. So it actually goes up to the middle of the eye. And so we have ours pretty good here. It's nice and wide. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add on our mouth. So our mouth is, I like to put the middle line in first of my mouth. That helps me kind of plan it out. And then I can put on this bottom lip, that shallow use line again, like we did at the tip of the nose. And then this kind of comes up, up. And then right, if you look at your mouth at the At the center of your mouth, it kind of comes out down here. This top lip has a little dip in it. Okay, you can try that. And then even this center line kind of dips down too a little. I like to put some details on my lips, like little creases, and that's where it's kind of dark there because it's going in. It's a little bit darker than out here. Let's try it again. Line, that's the center of our lip. That shallow U, or shallow U line. And then we go up, 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 2 diagonals. And little dip. Everybody's lips are a little bit different, so if you have a mirror, check out what yours look like. Okay? If you would rather do more of a cartoon lip, absolutely, go for it. Okay, you could do more of a stylized cartoon lip. Love it. You guys know I love a good cartoon drawing. Right, so I'm okay with whatever type of lip you want to do. Maybe you're going to make are you going to make a surprised person? With teeth up here. Ah! You're going to make him wide open mouth. All right, let's slide that over. So your mouth, it doesn't really matter what it looks like to me as long as you fill up your space and you're putting it in the right spot. So I'm going to your mouth in the mirror right now. You'll notice this little, like 2 little lines kind of in there. It's like a little shadow that happens there at the tip of your lip. So you could add those in if you wanted. Hopefully yours. Wow, we drew a whole head today. How cool is that? So we practiced our tall rainbow line here and then connected it with a U. We worked on making a realistic nose and then also practiced cartoon noses, whichever you like best. We practiced placing our eyes at the top of our thirds here, at the top of this section. We added on an ear in between this. We did so many things today. So this is as far as we are going to get today. So you do not need to color this. You do not need to Sharpie this. You don't need to add hair. If you want to darken up the lines that you like and erase out the lines that you don't like, that's a cool idea. That's smart. I'll do that. Wanted to also offer a cartoon version for anyone that would rather make that version, because a realistic person is not everybody's favorite thing to draw. So we start with that same rainbow line. You're going to, make your point down here, and you're going to bring that in. So you have your egg shape, okay? And then we're gonna do the same thing where you wanna space out your head in the right, put all your features in the right spot, the proportions. So I'll make those 3 lines again and see if I can get these to be the same size. Pretty close. I'll just make this head a little bit taller and then they're all the same size. Where did my eraser go? Oh no. Oh, here it is. And then instead of making realistic features, you're gonna place them in the same spots, but you're just gonna do cartoon features. And so I'll put those on here for you and speed it up so you can watch, but it doesn't take up too much of the video for you. Okay. Okay, I hope that you liked drawing people today or heads and working on those proportions. That was the most important part, trying to get the features placed in the right spot. Okay, and so remember, you have the cartoon option to place those features in the right spot. They are not realistic, but they are in the right spots, okay? You also have the more realistic option where the parts are in the right spot, but they look a little bit more realistic. This one didn't get hair yet. And then you also have the option to turn in just your practice if you'd rather do that and keep working on this week to have ready for next week. So please do not turn in a finished product today. You should not be done because you are taking your time on practicing your people. All right, next class, we will work on adding this side of the project. We'll add hair. We'll outline our features a little darker. We'll go over maybe with a skinny Sharpie or a black crayon to kind of darken up where we want. And then come up with some lettering techniques, some different ways to make your letters look cool. Come up with your own fonts, and we'll place those on our picture. And then the last class, we will work on coloring techniques for this. And I just used crayon, but there are lots of different things you can do with the crayon to get it to look kind of cool and different as a 4th grader. So, can't wait to see what you are working on, you're practicing, and next week we will keep working on this. All right, bye.